Jim's story began on April 22nd, 1945, in South Haven, Michigan, just as the world exhaled the final gasps of World War II and embraced the hope of peace. It was a time when music floated from radios and communities leaned into optimism. Jim was born into a home where melody and love was abundant. His father, Alfred, was a postal carrier with an ear for organ and piano music, and his mother, Adina, was a gifted and crafty homemaker. They raised Jim in the rhythm of music, family, and simple joys. As the middle child between sisters Betty and Joanne, Jim would tease Joanne unmercifully, but with the affection and charm that became a lifelong trademark. Summers for Jim meant trips to his grandfather's farm, where the days were sunny and the plumbing was, well, non-existent. So rather than brave the outhouse in winter, young Jim preferred to improvise off the porch. Those rustic times were formative, steeped in hard work and a reverence for nature. Jim's love for music blossomed at a young age. He learned to play the piano and played the trombone in school. But it was the cello that would become his favorite. And Jim excelled at it. Even after he graduated from South Haven High School in 1963, he continued to perform with school orchestras, and his vocal and musical talents won him scholarships and accolades. Jim went on to sing with the State Honors Choir and performed at WMU, where he sang in the grand chorus and played cello in the orchestra. During a summer job in the South Haven Hospital ER, Jim's natural empathy became evident. So trusted was he by the staff that he was invited into surgeries, an experience that sparked his interest in funeral service. And so, Jim enrolled at the Indiana College of Mortuary Science. But before he could begin that chapter, life had a different plan for Jim. In 1968, he was drafted into the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War. And after basic training at Fort Knox, he was deployed near the DMZ in Phu Bai and assigned to the 24th Corps Artillery Unit. While there, he mentioned his mortuary science background to the head of personnel, and within days, Jim was transferred to the U.S. Army Mortuary at the air base near Saigon. It was a much safer position, but the work at the mortuary was harrowing. Thousands of fallen soldiers, each needing identification, dignity, and a return home. Under the mentorship of Wesley Kneep, one of the world's foremost experts in body identification, Jim learned the painstaking art of honoring life through death. It was emotionally grueling work, and yet, like he always would, Jim managed to find light in dark places. He explored Saigon, swapped stories with fellow servicemen, and added quirky phrases like Titi Boku Sisi Wawa to his ever-growing lexicon. Jim would later reconnect with several of the men he served with in Vietnam, rekindling friendships that had been forged in the fire of shared service. After returning from Vietnam, Jim resumed work in funeral service. But fate had a love story waiting. While playing in the orchestra for a high school musical, Jim crossed paths with Jane Arkins at a cast party. Jane, for her part, said she knew even before their first date that she'd marry him. Her parents adored Jim immediately, and he sealed the deal with his warmth, humor, and his poetic flair, writing Jane love letters and poems from the very start. Jim and Jane married on April 12, 1975, launching a 50-year partnership full of music, laughter, road trips, and handwritten notes. Their love story included 2 sons, Ryan, born in 1976, and Patrick, born in 1981. Jim's style of parenting was rooted in kindness. From the very start, he instilled in his children the mantra, always seek the good in people. And he never could bring himself to discipline the kids or the dogs. So he left that to Jane. She would send them to their rooms, and then Jim would come up a few minutes later to release them. Even when his work schedule got busy, Jim made it a point to be home for dinner, to be present, and to offer support. Time together included evening bike rides through Parkview Hills, symphony visits, and thoughtfully planned family vacations. Jim had a knack for finding quirky, character-rich inns with a story, and finding off-the-map destinations. Because to Jim, the journey was always the point. Jim's career took off with Batesville Casket Company in 1976. His approach to sales was revolutionary, less about product and more about people. Jim was a listener. He empathized and served, and his clients trusted him not only for his expertise, but for his heart. From Rookie of the Year in 1976 to the Council of Excellence, Jim's impact was profound. By 1996, he was inducted into Batesville's prestigious Masters Club, the highest honor in the company. His mentorship of colleagues was legendary, and his frequent use of the word fabulous was infectious. Despite his accolades, Jim never took himself too seriously, and it was said that he only had 2 speeds, slow and reverse. He delighted in storytelling, gentle mischief, and spontaneous expressions of affection. After more than 30 years with Batesville, Jim continued his passion for meaningful funerals by taking on new roles at Hillenbrand and later Life Story Network. He believed that stories had the power to heal, and his work continued to help shape how families honored the lives of their loved ones. But Jim brought more than just his expertise to the workplace. To work with Jim was to feel ready for anything, and that nothing was impossible. For Jim, every day was like a new day, full of potential, and the most sincere, optimistic belief in what could be. Jim was a collector, not of things, but of meaning. He collected quotes, stories, people, and of course, pens. Only the finest, Mont Blanc and Waterman. He believed that if you're going to write a note, it should be with a quality instrument. Jim's handwritten cards were treasured gifts, and if you were lucky, you received one of those letters, part reflection, part encouragement, all Jim. He was also known to send spontaneous emails to friends, family, and coworkers, notes filled with musings on life, gratitude, and gentle wisdom. Eventually, Jim retired, and that gave him more time to spend with his friends and family, including his favorite granddaughter, Shay. From teaching her how to carve the Thanksgiving turkey, to cheering at softball games, to celebrating her master's degree and her career, Jim was the embodiment of kindness, compassion, and grace. She once remarked, "I wish I could move through life the way you do, Grandpa." To which Jim replied, "Well, I took the scenic route." Jim was the very definition of presence, energized by community and laughter. He sang in the choir at St. Augustine Cathedral for 25 years, some of the best years of his life, he often said. Choir practice was often followed by gatherings at the corner bar, summer pool parties, and impromptu music-filled evenings at Frank Zajak's house. Nothing made Jim happier than sharing a meal and good conversation with friends and family. Jim could often be found sitting on his patio, engaging in deep conversations with neighbors and friends. He had a gift for making everyone feel important. His catchphrases, "Write when you get work," and "Remember, you're wonderful," became a hallmark of his interactions. To know Jim Bauschke was to be drawn into a world where kindness ruled, curiosity thrived, and time itself took a back seat to wonder. He was a man of handwritten notes and handwritten lives, carefully, lovingly inscribed with compassion, wit, and purpose. When Jim passed away on July 24th, 2025, the world lost more than a good man. It lost a melody, a poem, a handwritten note that arrived just when you needed it. It lost a storyteller who believed in your story, a salesman who sold with heart, a veteran who served with honor, a father who showed up for dinner, and a husband who never stopped saying, "I love you." The next time you take the long way home, hear the swell of a cello, write a card, or pause to truly see someone. You'll find Jim there.